The Cleveland Browns have officially removed Dillon Gabriel from their roster, and this decision is about far more than football. This was a move driven by performance failures, locker room conduct, and a growing internal problem centered around one player, Shedeur Sanders. The ripple effects of this decision are already spreading far beyond Cleveland, and the full picture of what happened inside that organization is only now beginning to come into focus. Todd Monken, in his first major roster decision as the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, chose to move on from Dillon Gabriel. This came after Cleveland used a third-round pick on Gabriel, a significant financial and strategic investment that ultimately yielded almost nothing in return. General Manager Andrew Berry signed off on the decision, making it clear from the start that this was a front office-aligned move, not a unilateral coaching call made without institutional backing. Reports have already surfaced that Gabriel could be moved for a late-round pick if Cleveland brings in another quarterback this offseason. The timing of this decision is itself a statement. Monken walked into that building, assessed the situation, and wasted no time making the hard call. That kind of immediate decisiveness signals just how serious the problems with Gabriel had become, problems that went far deeper than incomplete passes and missed reads. The dismissal of Dillon Gabriel operates on two distinct levels, and both of them matter. On the field, Gabriel's play simply did not meet the expectations that come attached to a third-round selection. His mechanics under pressure, his decision-making when defenses brought the heat, and his overall production raised serious and sustained questions about his long-term viability as a starting quarterback in the NFL. The coaching staff saw enough film, or rather, did not see enough of what they needed, to feel confident building around him going forward. But the second layer is where this story becomes genuinely significant. Sources close to the organization confirmed that Gabriel's behavior off the field was equally damaging to his standing within the building. The way he conducted himself around teammates, and specifically the way he responded to the presence and rising stock of Shedeur Sanders, became a growing concern for the incoming coaching staff. Monken is building a specific kind of culture in Cleveland, one built on accountability, genuine competition, and mutual respect. By multiple accounts, Gabriel did not fit that culture. Talent alone does not keep you on a roster in the NFL. Character is part of the equation, and Gabriel reportedly failed that test just as clearly as he failed the on-field one. Shedeur Sanders is not a side character in this story. He is the central figure around whom everything revolves, and understanding his position inside that Browns organization is critical to understanding why Gabriel's removal happened the way it did. Sanders came into Cleveland as a fifth-round pick, which means the odds were already stacked against him before he ever stepped onto a practice field. No one handed him anything. Every single rep he earned came through performance, not preference. The moments that defined his early time with the organization, game-winning drives, clutch throws in high-pressure situations, a competitive presence that registered with both teammates and coaches, were built through consistent daily work. His effort and his ability to deliver when it counted began earning him genuine respect inside that locker room. Coaches who watched him every day could see exactly what he was bringing to the table, and that visibility changed the internal conversation around the quarterback position. Now contrast that trajectory with Dillon Gabriel's response to a teammate pushing him in open competition. Rather than elevating his own game in response to Sanders' rising performance, Gabriel went in the opposite direction. In one of his earliest and most revealing public comments, Gabriel referred to Shedeur Sanders and players like him as entertainers rather than competitors. That word, entertainer, is not competitive trash talk. It is not the language of a player who respects his competition and is motivated to outperform them. It is dismissal. It is the word of a quarterback who felt threatened and, instead of responding with production and professionalism, chose to respond with condescension. That comment did not disappear inside the building. It circulated among teammates and coaches. It stuck. And it revealed something about Gabriel's character that no amount of on-field improvement could simply undo. Shedeur Sanders was doing the daily work of proving himself at the professional level, and Gabriel's chosen response was to minimize him publicly with a single dismissive label. That contrast in maturity and professionalism tells you everything you need to know about the gap between these two players. Before Todd Monken arrived, Kevin Stefanski was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, and his handling of the quarterback situation contributed directly to how badly things deteriorated. Despite mounting evidence that Gabriel was not the answer, inconsistent play week after week, documented locker room friction, and Shedeur Sanders clearly demonstrating the capability for more, Stefanski continued to defend Gabriel publicly and back him internally. Fans were frustrated. Analysts were baffled. But Stefanski would not move off his position. According to reports, he went so far as to point criticism at Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator, suggesting that the scheme was not doing enough to put Gabriel in positions to succeed, rather than acknowledging that Gabriel's own limitations were the real problem. The loyalty Stefanski extended to Gabriel did not help Gabriel grow as a player. It shielded him from accountability at precisely the moment accountability was what he needed most. More damaging than that, Stefanski's insistence on Gabriel actively blocked Shedeur Sanders from receiving the opportunity that his performances were clearly warranting. A young quarterback with demonstrated potential was being held back, not because he was not ready, but because the head coach had already decided who his quarterback was before the competition had fully and fairly played out. Stefanski's loyalty was not just misguided. It was measurably damaging to the Cleveland Browns as an organization. And now that Monken has come in and made the correction almost immediately, it raises a direct and unavoidable question: how much further along would this franchise be if Shedeur Sanders had been given a genuine shot earlier in the process? Dillon Gabriel is not accepting this outcome quietly. According to insider reports, he is already actively working to reframe his removal from the Cleveland Browns roster as an act of bias and favoritism rather than a justified football and character decision. He is reportedly pointing fingers at the new front office, specifically at Andrew Berry, and claiming that the decision to move on from him was driven by a preference for Shedeur Sanders rather than legitimate evaluation. The victim narrative being constructed here does not hold up under examination. Gabriel had a head coach, Kevin Stefanski, fighting for him at every turn, sometimes to a degree that visibly hurt the organization. He had more runway than most quarterbacks selected in his draft class ever receive. He was given every resource, every opportunity, and every internal advantage available to him, and he came up short across every measurable category, on the field and off it. The narrative Gabriel is now attempting to push is designed to generate public sympathy, redirect blame, and obscure a straightforward reality. Anyone who was paying close attention to what was actually happening inside that Cleveland organization knows the truth. And the truth, by any objective standard, is not on Dillon Gabriel's side. This is the most explosive dimension of the entire situation, and it deserves to be examined directly and seriously. Reports are now emerging that Kevin Stefanski, now installed as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, is not only pursuing a deal to bring Gabriel to Atlanta, but is also reportedly encouraging Gabriel to go public with his grievances against the Browns. Consider what that actually means. A sitting NFL head coach, with a new team and a new contract, is reportedly pushing a former player to publicly attack his previous employer. That is not standard operating procedure within the league. That is a serious breach of professional conduct, and it is the kind of behavior that the league takes notice of. What appears to be unfolding is a coordinated effort between Stefanski and Gabriel to get ahead of the story, control the public narrative, and position Cleveland's new regime as the villain in a situation that the new regime actually handled correctly and decisively. The goal appears to be reputational: protect Gabriel's market value as he attempts to land in Atlanta, protect Stefanski's legacy in Cleveland from the scrutiny it has earned, and cast doubt on Monken and Berry's decision-making before Gabriel's version of events is fully disseminated. The Browns need to be prepared for the version of this story that Stefanski and Gabriel are going to push publicly, because it will look nothing like what actually happened inside that building. What Todd Monken has done in his first major act as head coach of the Cleveland Browns is send an unmistakable message to every player inside that locker room: accountability is real now. Past loyalties do not override performance. Character is not negotiable and not optional. Monken walked into a complicated and fractured situation with clear eyes and made a decisive call within a short window of time. The culture in Cleveland is being rebuilt from the ground up, and the foundation being laid is built around competition, professionalism, and genuine merit. At the center of that rebuilt culture is Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback who never asked for special treatment and only ever asked for a fair opportunity to compete. He now has that opportunity in an environment led by a coaching staff that evaluates players on what they actually do, not on who defended them internally or how early they were selected. The noise coming from outside the building, from Gabriel, from Stefanski, from whatever coordinated media campaign they are preparing to launch, is exactly that. Noise. The real work is happening inside Cleveland, and it is only just beginning. Engage with us. Was Gabriel's removal the right call, or do you believe he deserved more time and a genuine fresh start under the new coaching staff? What about Stefanski's role in this? Was his loyalty to Gabriel a sincere belief in a player, or was something else operating behind the scenes that the public still does not fully understand? And did Shedeur Sanders get treated unfairly throughout this entire process, or is being overlooked and undervalued simply part of the brutal and unforgiving reality of competing for a starting position in the NFL? Drop your take in the comments right now, smash that like button, make sure you are subscribed so you never miss a single update on Shedeur Sanders, the Cleveland Browns, and every significant move being made across the NFL this offseason.